Hi, Deirdre here. I'm just going to show you how to create a flowchart and then how to animate it. So I have a presentation here open in front of me and we want to add in a new slide. So we're going to click on the bottom half of the new slide button by clicking over here and it gives me some options. I'm going to choose a blank presentation. Okay, so I've now got a blank screen in front of me. So I'm going to click on the Insert tab up here. I'm going to go to Shapes. Okay, and we can use some basic shapes. So there's some flow charts, or there's particular rectangles down here. This one here has got nice rounded corners. I think I might use that one there, and I'll click and drag. Now, because I've chosen the frame design previously for this presentation, it's creating the shape in that particular colour. And when I go to choose the colours that might go with it, all of these colours would go with the frame design that I've chosen. So for example, I can change the colour of it here. I can change the colour of the shape outline. Now I'm just going to make it very strongly coloured. Now it's red, it's too small and you can't see it. So I'm going to go to shape outline. I'm going to change the weight of the shape outline and make it nice and fat so you can see it. So you can see I've got that coloured outline. It's a thick outline and the colour on the inside. So other things I can do with the shape fill is, with this item still selected, I can go to shape fill. We have the plain colours in here. I could choose a different colour. So if I click on more fill colours, in here I can actually put in the RGB value in here, or I can just click and choose, and here down here you can see the different colours. This is the new colour, that's what I have already, and I can choose that way, or I can go to the standard colours and then just pick out one particular colour that I might find it easier to work that way. And I can click OK. So that's another way of doing that. Another thing you can do with fill is click in here and go to, for example, gradients, and you get different gradients, or you can get different textures. So in texture, for example, I could make it water drops and go to shape fill and go to gradient, and I can go to more gradients. Okay, and I can go to gradient fill up here, and I can choose all sorts of options in here. Okay, and down here, if I click on this little marker down here and I change the color of it to red, okay, and I choose the second marker in here and change the color of it to blue, and then choose the third marker here, and then let's just make it really dramatic and we'll go with brown, so you can see it. Okay, and so you can move and watch the picture in front of me. As I move it, you can see it's changing the direction, and you can add in extra markers. So there's all sorts of things. You could choose pattern fill. So for example, you could choose a stripe like this, and then I could choose the colors of the stripe. So I could make it red, and then the second color, instead of being red and white, we'll make it red and blue. And you can choose all sorts of features in there with that. Okay, and then I'm going to just take it back to solid fill and choose a colour from this option in here. Okay, and then I can close off that one there. So you can do all sorts of arranging that way. The next thing to know about is adding text to your shape. So if I click away and I start to type, nothing happens. If I click on the shape and I start to type, for example, I can say study, okay, and so the text automatically goes in the middle of it. So you can change the style and change the font of it, and on the home tab here, all of the normal font stuff that you do, the colour of the font and the size of the font and the font face, etc., all of that can be dealt with in here, and you're familiar enough with that from things like Microsoft Word. So we're going to create our flowchart. I'm going to add in a few extra items. So on the Insert tab again, I go to Shapes, okay, and down here I've got the flowchart shapes. Okay, and so for example, I could choose this one here, and I can click and drag, and then the second one is learn, and then go back again. You can use the shapes in here, or you can go to Insert. I'm going to use them here for the moment, and I will choose this one here, study, learn, perform in exams. Okay, and checking for capitals. Okay, now at this stage, all of our shapes are sort of randomly sized. There's no conformity with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of the items. Now there's a few ways you can do selection. You can click on the first, hold down Shift, that's the one below caps lock on your keyboard, and go click, and that gets the 3 items involved. Or I can click away, and then I just click, keep my mouse button held down, and you notice I'm doing a big huge square around it, and let go, and it selects everything in between. Now, on the shape format tab over here, you've got different sizes. So I'm actually just going to type in, this is the height, I'm going to make it 5. Okay, and press enter. And the width, and maybe I'll try maybe 4.5 in width. Oh, a bit small, maybe go with, try 6. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so I've got my shapes standardly sized. I would make it a bit more consistent, and instead of going with the same colour all along, I might actually sort of, you know, pick a colour scheme along, and maybe start with lighter colour, and then go to maybe a stronger colour, and then move along to a darker colour. Okay, and maybe this one here, the white font, isn't working very well with that, and maybe I would choose an alternate sort of colour scheme to go with that, and maybe, you know, and just lay it out nicely. Now, the other thing you'll notice here is they're not spaced out evenly at this moment. There's you know, the gaps between learn and perform in exams are not equal. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this as far to the edge and try and make that gap on the right hand side the same as the gap on the left hand side. So I think that's about right. Now, the one in the middle, we're not just going to randomly do it. You know, we can sort of line it up that way, but a good way to do it is to select all of the items like that. Okay, and then on the shape format tool, we go to align. Okay, and we're going to align the middle of them so they're not wobbling up and down, and then we're going to distribute them horizontally, and that makes them evenly spaced as they go along. Okay, the next thing we need to do is to put in some arrows. So let's click on Insert and Shapes. Okay, and we're going to go to Block Arrow, and we're going to create an arrow in along here and get it appropriately sized. And actually, there's just a bit too much blue going on in here, so maybe I'll go with this sort of an alternate colour along. So I've got my one arrow here, and I'm thinking that's lovely. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to copy it. I tend to go Control and C. I rarely use these buttons up here, so Control C to copy, or else click on this button up here. And unlike Microsoft Word, you just hit paste. You don't say where it's going to go, or Control V to paste, and it goes on top, and then you can drag it out here. So actually, let's just make sure these are all nicely spaced now. So I'm going to select across again, shape format, align, align middle, and you can see the arrows are lined up now, and distribute horizontally. And everything is beautifully laid out, evenly spaced, and that's all working. So that's all looking good. We might want to put a heading on this slide, so we can go to Insert, and we could put in a text box, or we could put in word art. So I'm actually going to put in some word art, and maybe go with this one here, and I'll type in flowchart. Okay. And bring it up the top. It's a bit small. I might make it a bit bigger and increase the font size. So yeah, we've got our heading up the top again. That text looks a bit small as well, so I might select all of this here and change the font size up a little bit. Yeah, that's a bit easier to read. That's looking good. Now we're going to animate it. So let's run the slideshow at the moment and see what we have. So we go to slideshow up here, and then from current slide. So when we click on slideshow, you can see that all of the slide, I'm just going to stop displaying the text, the captions, and you can see the whole slide appears at once. Let's decide now that we would like to animate this. So I'm going to hit escape to come out of the slideshow. And what we would like is that the heading will appear first. So I'm going to click on my heading, okay, and we're going to click on the animations pane up the top here, and we're going to say just appear. Okay, so that is going to appear first. The next thing we'd like to appear is study. So we click on study and then click appear. The next thing we'd like to select is we'd like the arrow and the learn to appear together. So we need to select the two of them. So I'm clicking and dragging across the two of them. I'm creating a square that just encompasses the two of them and nothing else. So the two of them are in together now. And for example, I just make this dramatic. I'll say fly in. So the two of them are going to fly in. And then we want the last two items. So we click and drag across those there. And we will go with wipe. Okay, and that's how they're going to appear. If we run this as a slideshow now, and we go slideshow from current, you can see nothing appears initially. So when I click, the first item that we animated appears, and then I click again, the second item appears, click again, the two items that we animated together, and then we click again and another item appears. I'm going to hit escape to come out of that. Now, just to understand how that works, if I insert something else, I'll just randomly insert something else. So I'll put in, for example, a downward arrow over here, and I'll make it yellow or something. Okay, so I'm not animating this at all. And I'm saying, well, what is animated and what's not animated? Let's click on the animation pane up here, okay, the tab up here, and let's display the animation pane. And you can see all of the items that are linked together, okay? This one here, when I click on it, you see it goes red over here. That's the first item that's going to appear. That's the second item that's going to appear. That's the third item that's going to appear. And that's the fourth item that's going to appear. You'll notice that my yellow arrow down the bottom has no animation at all. Let's run this through the slideshow and see what happens with that. So if I click on slideshow from current, you'll see anything that isn't animated automatically appears on the slide. So if you don't want it to be there when you first come into the slide, you need to make sure that it has some type of animation.